Hi, everybody. So let's look into what are record types in C Sharp. So just FYI, this is not a deep dive into the actual feature of C Sharp, but this is just like a general overview of what it can do when it comes to record types in C Sharp. So record types were like introduced back in 2019 with the introduction of C Sharp 9. And recently, with the newest edition or newest iteration of C Sharp 10, they've also advanced that feature by adding in what are called as value-based record types. So, in a nutshell, a record is created by using the keyword record and followed by the variable name. So, if you see, there are actually two kinds of record types in C Sharp. One is the reference type, which is uh, created by using the record keyword, and the other one is actually a value based, which is actually created by using the struct keyword. So under the hood, you have to understand one thing, that records are basically a reference type, which in a way is like a class. It is a class under the hood. So there is a concept called as lowering, which the compiler does during the compilation process. So basically, whatever we type in as a record and the type information gets converted to a class, and the compiler does add other bunch of codes to give you the features of records. So if you see, I've actually created two record types. One is actually a person, which is a reference type, and I've also created a person struct, which is a value-based record type. So there are two properties, first name and last name. If you see under the hood, it is exactly same as that of a person class that is being generated. So there are two properties, first name, last name. But if you notice, instead of a setter, I've just used init. So what is an init? So it basically makes the property immutable, which means that I can only add a value upon the initialization of that specific object. So let's look at what are the features available by default for a record type in C Sharp. So by default, as I mentioned, they are immutable, which means that the object cannot be changed. The value of that object cannot be changed once it has been initialized. And since it's immutable, it is also thread safe by default. So another greatest feature of record types in C Sharp is that it would actually give us value-based equality as against reference-based equality. So what is value-based equality? So if in C Sharp, let's say that I created two objects for this class. Let's say I have the person class, not the record person, but the person class in C Sharp, and I create two objects, and I add the same first name and last name to two different objects. And if I were to compare it, it would actually just return me false, because here classes by default follow something called as reference-based equality. But if I were to create an object for the record person and compare the two objects, if the first name and the last name properties are same, I would get true, because records internally it follows a value-based equality. And yes, of course, for a class, we can implement the iEquality interface and bring in the feature, but that's something that we would have to do on our own. And finally, it's the with keyword, which is available as part of the record types. So we can actually create a new record based out of another record by using the with keyword. So basically what it does is that it creates a new record type. Let's say, for example, I have a person's record. If you can look at the screen, I've created a person record with the first name of Mike and the last name of Tyson. Let's say that I want to create a new person's record based on the other person's record, but but the first name should be same as that of the other record. So what I can do is I can just create a new object and use the with keyword and only change the property which I need to be changed. So if I were to do a new person record dot to string, I would actually see the first name as Mike, but the last name would be Hero. So basically what it does is that it clones the object and it creates a new object with the existing property, but overriding the property which I have created right now. Yeah. Thank you.